Bitcoin price falls below 37K amid little hope of a definitive weekend bounce. Support may be at $36,000, but it may be temporary. One trader warns after a major Binance buy wall is obliterated. Despite the Bitcoin conference, despite El Salvador, we have nothing but bad news for the price of Bitcoin. Let's go to Ben Ark. What's going on with the price of Bitcoin? Why can't all this good news satisfy anyone? We even had inflation news. There was inflation fears. Still not enough. Ben Ark.
Part of the suspicious part of me wants to blame Bitcoin Miami, because I remember the last Bitcoin conference, Bitcoin 2019, is so similar. The Bitcoin market at the time, like it just dropped. Everyone was still pretty high because we had relatively high price, and everyone was kind of assuming that it was then going to tick up, and it didn't. It just continued to bear down. So it just feels like a very similar time. Obviously, the prices are much bigger now than they were back then. But yeah, it's I think we're going to be bearish for a little while. But even though the price is being bearish, there is all this, as we just spoke about in the last topic. There is all these great moves and all this long-term bullishness, and Taproot and whatever else. The technology keeps improving, the software keeps improving, and it's not really worth paying attention to. You just got to hold on and just ride it out.
The price of Bitcoin always goes up after conferences, except when it doesn't. Josh Nagala, what's going on with the price of Bitcoin?
I mean, I don't even know why this is a news story. Like, it's been bouncing between, I don't know, 35 and 40 and 30. And it's been doing this for a little while now. It's just heading down. It's been overbought. It's now getting a little bit sold off. Whatever. It's already like very moonish, I would say. This price is it's very high, but I think it's going to go way higher, and just hold on and enjoy the ride.
Gabriel Devine, the price of Bitcoin used to be more, now it's less. What's going on?
I thought something in this article actually did stick out to me, which is quite interesting. They were referring to previous cycles, and it is interesting to see the parallels between 2013, 2017, 2021. There's definitely 2021 looks like it's exactly in between the two as far as percentage moves, including the altcoins. So they were talking about altcoin slump, of course, even more serious than Bitcoin. And to me, everything that we're seeing sets up a much bigger second half of the bull cycle in 2021, possibly going into 2022. But I think not. So yeah, I'm looking for new all-time highs later in the summer, certainly in the fall, and probably another blow-off top at some ridiculously high number. I did call correction to 29 and from 64, and my call for the price, the spike at the top is $425,000, and then expecting another 90% drop from there, so something around 75 after that. But I do also expect another altcoin bubble to blow up after that or during that and crash as well, even 99% or whatever. So that's my take. That's my prediction.
Gabriel Devine with the hard numbers, the fixed predictions. Shout out to Joe in the chat, Bitbrum in Birmingham, and he just happened to be here too. Dan Eve, your thoughts on the price of Bitcoin?
It goes up, it goes down. It's always scary. I'm not going to lie. It's difficult not to look at Blockfolio all the time, or just turn the alerts off. It's just the easy thing to do, because, and we say this all the time. If the price goes down, like, most people are still building. Like, most people they haven't gone bankrupt yet. They're still building infrastructure, and so that when the next wave comes along, there's so many more goods and services that you can use Bitcoin for, and there's so many more people that know about Bitcoin. This time round, there's when I was trying to remember specifically a stag do I went on in 2015, and I was trying to convince my some mates there who are brokers at Lloyd's of London, and they just were like it was just continuously taking the piss out of me about Bitcoin, and I just couldn't win them over. And he's recently gone and bought like Bitcoin and Ethereum. So one of the guys. So it does show that that people are starting to pay more attention. And seeing it as a buying opportunity. A lot of people that were sat on the sidelines going, "Oh shoot, I didn't buy Bitcoin at when it was $30,000." Like those people they're in the market now. They're like waiting for it. They're like edging, waiting for that further dip so that they can buy in again. So it's just it's volatility that comes with Bitcoin. It will be up again eventually, and it will probably be back down again. It will be back down again eventually. You just got to ride it like that. That famous little GIF with the Bitcoin in the roller coaster, and sometimes the roller is pointing up, sometimes it's pointing down. As long as you hold on tight, and you don't need to sell when it's when it's at a low. So try and do a bit of planning and save yourself some hassle having to sell Bitcoin when you're broke and Bitcoin's down, or just try not to sell any at all and stack sats forever.
Isn't it the craziest thing? When it was worthless, I couldn't get anybody to buy it. Now that it's worth more money than anybody has, everybody wants to buy it. It just doesn't make any sense. Justin Newton, your thoughts on the price of Bitcoin?
Well, I'm more of a technologist and an entrepreneur than a trader. So anyone who followed my trading advice would probably go broke. But to, follow up on what the Crypto Raptor said, from my perspective, anytime the price goes down, it means that everybody needs to leave the resorts and get back to work. And so it means that we can start building and making some progress.
All right, moving on to the exit question. You'll have to predict against the magical predictor Bitcoin ball. Ben Ark, the price of Bitcoin this time next week, higher or lower?
Lower for a bit, and then eventually higher, but lower.
Josh Sigala.
Lower.
Gabriel D. Vine.
The sentiment is bearish in the room today. Lower.
Dan Eve.
I'm with you, Cats. I'm going lower. I'm seeing some red, some good buying opportunities for those who missed the boat.
Justin Newton, give us some green.
I have no clue, so I'm just following everybody else.
All right, here we go. Remember, you have to ask the ball yes or no questions. You're not supposed to shake it, but we do anyway. It could cause bubbles. Will the price of Bitcoin be higher this time next week? Yes, definitely. Yes, definitely. Right. The ball has spoken, not financial advice. Don't just trust the ball. Of course, it is easier than thinking.